Ahoj, ahoj, já vás zdravím z vlaku a teď právě jedu do Prahy už, z Ostravy, takže je po rozhovoru, který vy teďka uslyšíte a uvidíte. Bude samozřejmě i na YouTube, je i na Spotify, záleží, kde se vám radši poslouchá. Bude to rozhovor s hercem Maxem Wrottesleym, to je herec, který je z Velké Británie a je to herec, kterého můžete znát za House of the Dragon, Rod draka, a nebo z, jak se to jmenuje v češtině, Guardians of the Galaxie, ze Strážců galaxie. A měla jsem s ním půlhodinový rozhovor o herectví, o těch projektech, ale především se držíme toho tématu začátku herectví a toho, jaký to je být v takovýchhle velkých projektech. Takže já doufám, že si ho užijete a rovnou jdeme na něj. Ještě jenom hodně rychle jsem sem chtěla přijít a říct, že hrozně moc děkuju Fantastické Ostravě, že se tenhle rozhovor vůbec mohl konat, že jsem mohla přijet a mít ho s Maxem. Bylo to strašně krásný od nich a hrozně super komunikace a prostě jenom, že děkuju. Jo, já jsem to zapomněla zmínit v tom minulém videu, tak ať to zazní, je to důležitý a teď už teda opravdu k tomu rozhovoru a užijte si ho. Aspoň tak trochu, aspoň tak, jak jsem si ho teda užila já, jsem chtěla říct. Haló? Tohle je Ségra na drátě. Pojďme se pobavit o všem, co nám není jasný. Takže o všem. Yapping is in session. Hi.
Hello.
Hello and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome to Ségra na drátě.
Hello.
Ahoj, ahoj všichni. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Very welcome.
Thank you. So, really briefly about you, you're an actor.
Yeah.
And you're an actor for a long time.
For a very long time.
I
actually started at 13, so
Wow.
my whole life, yeah.
Wow.
31 years.
Amazing. So we will dig into that a little bit to talk about your beginnings,
Yeah.
to talk about your career in everything that you've been part of, the bigger projects and the projects that are very close to your heart, perhaps.
No problem.
And this is basically what we are going to do for half an hour.
Lovely. Let's have a chat.
Amazing. So the very first question is, how was it to start out in? You were only 13 years old, so was it through parents?
Well,
or
yeah,
was
basically
your
it was my amazing mother just knew that that's what I wanted to do. I'd been an actor since I was like 5. The only other job I wanted to be was a pirate, and I discovered there was no proper pirating to do anymore. But I worked out that if I became an actor, I might get to pretend to be a pirate at some point. So at about 6, I was like, I'm going to settle on that. And my mum just happened to bump into some kids on the tube in London.
Oh, I see.
And they were just nice kids. And she was like, oh, what school do you go to? And they said, we go to a theatre school. And she went, oh, really? Where's that? And the rest is history. She got me the audition. I auditioned. I got taken on. And then when you join the school, you join the agency as well. And they start working you professionally at the same time. Right. So it was the good fit for me. It was the right answer.
Joining the agency, is it easier when you're a kid than when you're an adult?
I don't know. I mean, I have no frame of reference because I've always had an agent since I was 13. I think because the school takes you on and they're training you at the same time, so it's like alongside. So I was doing like 3 days schoolwork, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was like academic, and then Thursday, Friday was singing, dance, acting, drama, all that stuff. So they're kind of already training you. So they have the agency running alongside, and then if you're right for a job, then they'll put you up for it, and you sort of start your career that way.
I see. And how many years did you attend this?
I was there for 3.
For
I
3 years?
I did 3 years, yeah.
So you were 15?
So I was 16 when I was 13 when I started, and then 16 when I finished, yeah.
Right. And how... I can't even imagine. So how was it for you?
It was bliss. I went to a very strict all-boys school before. And did not thrive, did not enjoy it. I mean, it was very sports-centric and very masculine and very kind of academic, and it just didn't suit me. I'd be an arty kid and a theatre kid and wanted to kind of... I was head of the clouds, a bit of a fantasist, and it just didn't quite click for me. And I went to this school and I was like, number one, there were girls who were much more fun to be around than boys all the time, you know, and that was just a totally different universe. It was like a space where they wanted you to kind of be creative and be do the stuff that I'm interested in. So it was like an ideal fit for me. All right.
There must have been, I suppose, hard, and you must have felt pressure in the all-boys school, which is very academically pressured as well.
Yeah, it was very much, and it was, they weren't interested in the things I was interested in. I was interested in art, I was interested in theatre, I was interested in music, and it was very much like academics, Latin, rugby, cricket, and it just wasn't me. It didn't suit me as a character. So when I got the opportunity to go somewhere that embraced the things I love, it was just a weight off my shoulders. I'm just the happiest I've ever been.
It's understandable.
Yeah.
And your parents were great for embracing
incredibly,
it.
And I'm very lucky. And my mum spotted early that's what I wanted to do, and my dad was always just incredibly supportive. So.
I see. So since you've started at 13, was there ever a moment that you were like, what am I doing with my life? Maybe with your other...
Well, now, yeah, always. I mean, regularly, every 6 months or so. What am I doing with my life, I think, is like default position of an adult, isn't it? Like...
That's fair enough, you know, yes. Kind of the theme of the
yeah,
podcast
I mean,
as well.
I would love to pretend that I got it all worked out. I absolutely don't. I'm still in the trenches trying to make sense of what it is to be a grown-up. And I think the nature of my job is that it is kind of infantilizing. Like, I don't really... it's a bit of a Peter Pan syndrome. Like, I still want to play. I still want to be playful. I want to kind of explore stuff which is maybe not what would be considered serious work. People consider it a soft job, you know, or like a soft approach, not highly intellectual or whatever else. But I think it has value, and I love it. So. Well,
definitely. You say infantilizing.
Yeah.
Isn't it maybe that you get to do what you were kind of meant? Because for me, the serious jobs might be that you are kind of putting on a role as well every day, and you are pretending to be serious at all times, and having it all figured out at all times.
Yeah, it's exhausting. I cannot imagine being in an office 5 days a week. Like, it makes me feel anxious. The idea of like sitting behind a desk for 5 days, you know, 40 hours a week, it would send me mad.
Oh. Have you ever thought about it?
Thought about doing it? Yeah. Not seriously. I mean, when I've had no acting work and I've had to take on temp work or whatever else back in the day, you know, I worked in offices, but I'd always try and get the job which was like, can I work in the back that's menial, or can I do the thing that's like, I don't want to be sort of stuck behind a desk because it just doesn't suit me.
Right. So you say you've been acting since 13, but you're saying that there were times that there was no jobs.
Oh, I mean, and still, like, any career in the arts, if you talk to any of my writer friends or my artist friends or my actor friends, when it's good, and when it's bad, it's not there. And you have to kind of be prepared to embrace the absence of it and wait for it to come good again. Only about 1% of my industry makes you know, a financial success and makes it a career that's consistent. So most of us have other jobs. I teach acting as well on the side. I teach one-on-ones. So it's kind of important to be aware of that and to not let it erode your confidence. Because I think a lot of the people I know who've quit have quit because of the inconsistency, because it's so hard to stay in it and still like have a life and, you know, raise kids and have a family and have, you know, a life. Right.
The auditioning process. Yeah. That's a big topic as well. It must be so hard to audition and go for callbacks. And nothing comes on.
Yeah, and it still happened. I mean, I got called from my agent yesterday, and like last week it was looking really good for something, and then I got the call yesterday. I was like, well, they went the other way. It would be me and one other guy, you know. He's out having a beer, celebrating, and I'm there going, on to the next one, you know.
That's the terrible part, I think.
You have to just, I mean, I say to my daughter to say Elsa it. Let it go. Like, you know, just like, sometimes you just got to Elsa that business and move on, because otherwise, if you get too wrapped up in it, it can affect your mental health. And also, particular to acting, is like you are the product. So it's very hard not to take it personal when it's you they don't want. You know, it's very obviously you they've chosen not to select. And you have to have a very, very thick skin, and also I think a kind of level of obstinateness where you're like, no, okay, fine. The next person may want me or will want me. And I still believe that that's going to be possible.
Well, I suppose you kind of have to look at it like that.
Yeah, you have to be a fatalist. Like, it's meant to be or it's not meant to be.
Hard anyway.
Yeah. I can say it. It's very easy to say. It's very hard to feel when you really want a job. Like, there's been stuff before that I've been up for that I've been really close to and been really, really excited for. And you can't help, once you get to like second or third round, you can't help but imagining your life and world if you get that job, and then you sort of have to mourn it when it doesn't come off. But if not for too long, you've got to shake it off and go, okay.
But then projects like House of the Dragon come along.
An amazing job like that, which it's been such a gift, and such fun to shoot. So yeah, then you know, but also not relying on that, not going like, I've made it now. House of the Dragon. It's like I'm really enjoying it now. I'm also aware that in a year, whatever else is next will be the next thing. So you know, you have to kind of not hang your hat on it too much.
And is it kind of easier? Well, I suppose it is, but maybe you're going to very much be against that. So when you land such a job, does it get easier a lot?
I don't think so. I mean, I've been, like I said, 30 years at this job, and I've had so many breaks. Like, oh, this is going to be, you know, the great TV job. It's this great film. It's this thing, and you have this moment where you kind of believe it for a second. You're like, maybe it'll all get easier. Maybe I'll suddenly be like employed all year round and making tons of money. And the reality is no break that I've had has ever been that. It's changed at that moment or for the next 6 months or for the year, or you get one good meeting out of it, but nothing has, I mean, I haven't yet got to that point where the consistency has meant that I can like rely on it all the time.
And since you've been acting actively for 30 years, do you kind of know the people already? Is it like you kind of know the directors and you can...
Some, I mean, occasionally you bump into the same people, and I have certain relationships with, certainly with directors that I'd like to work with again, I've stayed friends with, that I'm in touch with. But again, it's such a sort of, it's such a difficult thing to do to get projects made. So I have like 3 friends, all of them amazing directors and writers, all of which I've been talking to for 15 years about projects we'd like to do. And yet, to get them to the moment where actually all the stars align and the finance is in the right place and the script is right and they attach the right people and then suddenly it can happen. I mean, I've been this close like on a number of occasions where it looked like we were going to make the movie or make the thing, and finance walked away or something happened or somebody else gets on a different project and then that collapses and then you have to start building it again. So.
And then there are pilots, right, as well?
Well, pilot season, but that's more in America. I mean, pilot season is much more kind of an LA approach. Every beginning of each year, the big studios will run pilots and try and get stuff produced. That's less so in the UK where I'm based. Usually it's commissioned for 6 episodes, whatever else, and then you go from there.
If I go back to the auditioning process, would you say it might be a little more easier to get into the industry through self-tapes lately?
Well, so I mean, self-tapes are the only way we do business anymore. I mean, COVID completely like destroyed the face-to-face interviewing. So
would you say in the last year you have...
I don't think I've had an in-person audition in a year.
Wow. But it must be hard as well because you're working kind of with the, not with the crowd, right? But with the people in the room as well.
Awful. I mean, it's so counterintuitive to what I think acting is about, which is about, react. It's about being in a room with somebody, finding a connection, being able to kind of find that moment. And instead, I'm there like begging my wife at 10:15 after the children are in bed, will you please read with me for this thing? It's 3 lines and whatever else. She's like, okay, trying to get the dog not to walk through and make a noise right when we're trying to shoot. And then you've got to learn it because, I mean, everybody is off book now. You always want to be off book.
Oh, truly, I thought that you are...
I haven't read something for years. I couldn't remember the last. So it becomes an exercise, number 1, in like memory. Can you get these 6 pages learned by Wednesday?
Right.
Then it's like, can you do them and not be rubbish? Like, actually do some acting, maybe, hopefully. Then it's like, then you've got to shoot it, light it, shoot it. Then you've got to edit it. Then you've got to upload it. So
you also edit it?
So where you cut the bits together. So if I've got like 3 or 4 takes or different ones that I like different scenes, and I've got to chop it and put it together and package it for the casting director. So you have like, I've a load of different jobs now. Like I used to walk into the room, do acting and go. And now I've got kind of all these other additional responsibilities to try and get you that job. And also there are so many more people can do it. So in one respect, like, everybody was like, oh, it's great. It opens up the opportunity for more people to audition. But what actually happens is that loads and loads of people audition. I'm not even sure half the tapes get watched. It's like, oh, they're for safety.
Oh, that's another
we'll
thing.
see 60, 70 people. It used to be like 15 of you would walk into an office and 1 of you would get that job. And now it's 60 of you are sending a tape. So the kind of chance of you getting that job is getting further and further away.
Okay, so you wouldn't say that helped? Quite
no,
the opposite.
Absolutely not. And I don't think it breeds good acting particularly.
Well, I think it's tough, right? Because you're looking at yourself while self-taping as well, probably, I think. So you can see exactly how your face looks. So maybe you want to kind of make it nicer. Yeah, well,
that's the thing. I think, we're all inherently vain creatures. So you're like, and what I've got to a process now is I will try and get it clean 3 times. And then I will give it to my agent and I'll be like, pick the one you like. Because otherwise I will say, oh, I didn't like that micro expression and that, oh, look a bit chubby in that one, I'm not happy. And then, but that's, again, not helpful for acting. But it isn't, because you are critical in a way that nobody else would be. They would see something completely different. And even the stupid stuff, like the way you look on camera is different to the way you look in a mirror. And you expect your own mirror image because that's how we perceive it ourselves. So you always look weird on camera because you don't look like the person you see in the mirror. And you can get very wrapped up in that kind of silliness, which is actually unhelpful.
Do you watch your film, movies?
I will purely from, something like House of the Dragon. I'm a massive Game of Thrones fan, so I watch it for Emma, and I watch it for Matt, and I watch it for all the other talented people in it. Watch myself through my fingers. But I think it's, some actors say they never watch themselves. I wouldn't say that, because I think it's very useful to kind of, as a learning, sort of as a lesson, it's always important to see what decisions you've made and whether they've worked, and then, because then in the moment something might feel really true, on camera it doesn't read, and then vice versa. So sometimes you think, God, I smashed that scene, I was brilliant, and then you watch it, you go, I was awful, or God, I hated that take, I was really like, I saw my head was somewhere else, I wasn't in it, and then you go, oh, that's the one they used, look all right in that. So it's good like ego management to understand what the process is.
Right. Well, as long as the director is happy, right? Or has it ever happened that like, kind of he came over and like, oh, well, it's really nice what you're doing here, but like, maybe.
Well, no, honestly, I love a note. I mean, I really don't mind a note. I think a lot of the time when there's some time pressure on, there isn't much space for direction, really. And as an actor, I want to be directed. I want to be able to deliver what they want, and a good note at the right moment can be totally transformative. It can make it way better. It can also, a bad note at the wrong moment can totally devastate your confidence or make you feel self-conscious about a decision that you've made. So it's a really hard job to direct well. And I think directors who understand the process of acting are much better for actors, because they understand the moment where they need to step in and just give a nudge or give something to change the atmosphere, or to give a kind of just alter something small.
Definitely.
That's what I think about stuff.
Oh, definitely. Thank you for giving me your thought. No, definitely. Thank you. Thank you for talking so openly about it as well. And have you ever dealt with imposter syndrome? Well, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, something like today it's so fun to come and do this thing, and then you're like, does anybody want to hear me witter on about anything? Like, no usually. Way. And again, it's that thing of like, at the moment we're talking person to person, you're talking to Max. But when I'm acting, I don't have to worry about him. I get to go and do the character, and then you leave that there and you walk away from it. When you have to do press or you have to do this kind of stuff, it's like, oh, it's me, and that feels totally different as a job.
Right. Oh, I see. So it's hard for you to kind of divide these two.
Yeah, well, I think because if you're being critical about something, or you're just observing something which is a character, you're separate from it. But when it's me, it's like, oh, I have to like, it's human nature, isn't it, that you want to be perceived as likable or approachable or intelligent or whatever it may be. And yeah, we're all in our heads, aren't we? You know, you go like, oh, should I have said that? Or did I say that right? Or, you know.
What do you do? How do you get out of your head?
I don't know. I suppose remind myself that we're not saving lives. Nice. You know, like this, what we get to do is incredibly fun and glorious, but it's for the joy of it, and actually remembering that it's about giving pleasure, telling stories, being creative, and creativity inherently is flawed. So, you know, mistakes are how you get better, or how things change, or, you know, you need to kind of be prepared to go, oh, that's a learning moment, or that's a thing that I could do better next time, or not do that, you know.
Well, I see why you're a teacher as well. Makes sense. So how is the set in the House of the Dragon? I have to ask.
Incredible.
Or maybe firstly, the auditioning process. How was that?
It was a really interesting one for that job, because
was it face to face?
Well, it was really, really unusual for me, the way I got this job, because on season 1, a character called Harold Westerling, a very good actor, he couldn't make rehearsals. So the casting director, who knows me, was like, oh, they need somebody to read in for a week. Can you come on set? They're rehearsing all these scenes. And I was like, well, I didn't even know what it was. They were like, oh, come, we're shooting this TV thing. Can you help for a week? So I got there, and suddenly I was surrounded by all the main cast. You know, I met Emma, I met Matt, I met the twins, I met all these people, and there's, you know, Reese fans, and I'm like, okay, right, this is a bit more than I was expecting. Paddy Considine is there, being incredible.
All right.
So
also, you've been a fan.
Well, they're all
important to know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And
you've read the books. And
yeah, so I know. Yeah, I mean, I hadn't read House of the Dragon until I got that job, but I'd read all of the other Game of Thrones books. But I just had this amazing week where we were rehearsing all these great scenes, And I think it was Matt said to me, a couple of people said to me, okay, you're reading in, but who are you playing? I was like, I'm not playing anybody. just here, talk about imposter syndrome. Just here, like having a play. But the director on that, Greg Yatanes, who is just the nicest man, we just got on really, really well. It was just a really easy working relationship. And then I met Ryan, who's the showrunner, and Sarah, and they were just great and very welcoming and very kind of happy for me to be at work. And on the last day, I mean, I think Ryan said to me, we've got to find you something in this. And I just went, wouldn't that be nice? Literally going like, I am never going to hear from these people ever again. And then sure enough, about 4 weeks after that, I got a call for an audition, and then I went through the audition process. So I'd met them before, so I think that made a big difference of their like perception of me. But then I still had to go through the process of taping, sending it in, and then it goes through all the different eyes at HBO, and then Ryan gets to see it again and decide if you're the right person for the job. And luckily, I got to come and play.
Oh, but that's so nice.
It was a lovely way of getting a job.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And how many auditions there were, you said?
So I think I did, just one tape, I think, because I'd already met them. So I'd done all that. I did that week's work. Then I didn't hear anything. Then I was like, I don't think anything's going to happen. Then the character breakdown came in, and they said this is a possibility. And they sent me pages, but they didn't actually send me pages for Sir Laurent. They sent me dummy pages for a different character. So I prepared them. I shot them. Sent them off, and I think it was like 6 weeks later, and I really thought, this is gone, this is not happening. And then out of the blue, I got the lovely call saying it was a go.
Wow, amazing. Oh, so only one, but then you met them before. Yeah. Nice. And so how do the day-to-day kind of look like when you're
when we're on set? Yeah. So it'll be an early pickup, so nice car will come and get us about sort of 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and then get set, get through makeup. I mean, I'm the easiest person in makeup ever because I just walk in and they go, "Is that your face? That's your face," and off you go. Matt's been in the chair for 4 hours having his all his wig put on. I'm like, "Hello, still my face?" Then I just go away. So makeup's not too long, and then a bit of breakfast, and then get into costume and get get the clobber on, and then we usually get to set. We'll rehearse whatever's happening. The armour itself isn't too heavy. It's very hot because there's like layers and layers and layers of material, and then the carbon fibre. But the weight comes from the cloak, the white cloak. The white cloak is the heavy bit, and it's like a huge blanket that sort of puts you in a stress position like that all day long. Which I'm sure is very good for the posture for the character. It makes you kind of stand up straight. So I'm leaning into that as part of the job of the white cloak.
You're working out basically.
Absolutely, always.
12 hours a day.
Always. Gains, baby.
Wow. Okay. Well then, and when you've also let's see the makeup. Okay. It's very easy for you in the House of Dragon. You've also been in the, how do you call it in English, Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah.
That was a different job.
That must have been harder,
makeup-wise, that was harder, I mean, for the, because we had the contacts, and I'd never worn contacts for a job. I had these bright yellow contacts, and they, that's a whole process. Like, I went to the opticians, they measured my eyes. Like, this is not just the ones you buy in the cosplay store on this sticker. These were, like, custom made.
This is Marvel contacts.
And I tell you what, the first day I walked onto a Marvel set, you realise the scale of that show.
Is it very different, House of the Dragon and the...
They share a bit of DNA purely because of how big it is. Right. But I think, I mean, I'd done Hugo before, which was a pretty big set, but I'd never had the, like, NDR craziness that was Guardians. When I got that job, it was like, you cannot, if you were staying in the room where you get your costume on and off because you're not taking a photo of it, like, we had to go to set in, like, Jedi, like, cows, like, they're zipped up. Because there were people with drones trying to see what was in the studio, so we literally like go from the trailer or in a buggy in a thing,
plague-ridden.
Yeah, and then drive in and then hide and then get out and do it. So I'd never been around anything like that when that happened. It was such a mad job, and it's such a fun job. I mean, again, I had like 4 or 5 days on it, whatever it was.
4 or 5 days, I see.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. But the contacts, I think it was in my contract. I could only be in them for like 4 hours at a time before I needed like an hour's rest or whatever because they need to pull them out again. They're very uncomfortable. They weren't great, but they look cool.
They do. Yeah,
they look very cool, so it was worth it. You suffer for the art.
And how was it? How was the Guardians?
Oh, really fun. And James Gunn, who's the director, was just a very, very nice, very, very capable, good director. He knew exactly what he was there to get, which is important. I think there was no time wasted. Like, he knew what he wanted. He knew exactly what he wanted from his performances. Right. And he was juggling this unbelievable machine that is a film like that, and keeping it very intimate, very kind of conversational. Good guy, really nice guy. Man, I had a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to be on set.
Speaking of directors, has there been someone especially who stood out to you, as someone who pushed you or challenged you in your right way?
I have probably my favorite director I ever worked with was a guy called Gonzalo Lopez Gallego, who made Open Grave, the film I shot with him. Right. And just occasionally you meet somebody who just makes sense to you. And me and Gonzalo just straight away, we're still good friends now. Like I'll text him and talk to him. And that was just a very, very happy relationship. I thought he'd always have, you talk about the right note to the right time. Gonzalo always was all over whatever the characters were and have that moment. So just increments. He'd just come and give you the right the right note at the right moment. And just a lovely man. And I think so much of the time, it's just about that. It's like, do you get on well with the people you're working with? If you feel comfortable with them, you feel safe to kind of make decisions or make choices and be free. That's the happiest you can be at your job. You know, if you trust your boss. If you trust your boss and like your boss and feel like they've got your back, then you can relax and do the work.
Speaking of Open Grave, on IMDb, it says you're most known for Open Grave, Guardians of the Galaxy, The Quest, and Love Me Do. Is this your dream lineup, kind of what you want people to be
I don't know. Well, again, like, I'd like them to find me in anything that they want to find me in. I mean, again, I've been doing this a long time, so... And occasionally somebody will be like, oh, weren't you in so-and-so? I'm like, yeah, 25 years ago. So, I mean, I don't know whether it's like want to be known for anything. I'd like to be known that I'm a safe pair of hands, that I can come and be trusted to tell a story and to embody a character. And however people want to discover that or find me, all the better.
And do you think there's like a special, one special performance that you gave that is like really maybe more interesting?
I don't know.
No, not
really. I don't
it's
know. Again, it's like it's a very different. It's so kind of. Yeah, that's an external thing. I don't know whether I could. Well, this one particularly, I thought that was marvelous.
Sorry.
And I don't think so. I mean, there's stuff I'm proud of, but it's funny, isn't it? Like, I mean, I made a film called The Cosmonaut, which nobody ever saw, and was a really hard film to make. And I'm kind of proud of that because we made it, you know, because it got made in a world where it's hard to make anything happen. And there was a lot more responsibility in that because there's a reason it was like a lead, so I had more to do. You know, on Dragons, a lot of the time it's like being present for the other characters who need to do, you know, the important stuff. So it's nice always to have a job where you get to have more agency.
Oh, well, you speaking about being the lead, you mentioned in an interview that like the pressure in House of the Dragon isn't on me, it's on the leads. More pressure like this, please. Sorry.
Yes, exactly. You're quoting me, but I agree. I still want more pressure, please. Please give me the pressure. I'll be very happy to take it on.
Is that how after 30 years you really see it? Isn't it kind of sometimes too much, maybe?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think I thrive off it. I want to be challenged and I want to have the opportunities to work, and obviously the more you get to act, the better you get. And I think also, yeah, I'm still excited about it. You know, 30 years later, I'm still excited about that's what I want to do. I'd love the opportunity to have more leads, more stuff to do, more work. I mean, anything that kind of gives me the opportunity to do the job that I love makes me happy.
Okay, I see. Also, you mentioned during our interview that you kind of leave the character behind when you leave from the set. So are you a method actor or do you...
No, I wouldn't. I certainly wouldn't say I'm method. There's a very interesting practitioner called Meisner, who I think is probably the person that I've connected with most when it comes to acting. And that's about being as truthful as possible within the moment. Right. So, you know, you try and be as present as possible, as truthful as possible in the moment when the performance is happening, and project and absorb what's opposite you. So being in that moment with somebody else and really communicating that. When that is happening, I think good acting happens. There is no right or wrong way to do this. You know, the incredible method actors who are extraordinary, and that's their process. But I have other mates who literally don't do any prep at all. They come on, they just deliver talent and go. So, I mean, there's increments of everything. I'm definitely a worker. I like to prepare. And I like to think about backstory. And I like to think about character. But I'm not so... it's just not my process.
I understand. Deliver the talent.
Yeah. Hello, I'm brilliant. Yeah.
Bye.
Ta-ta.
Well, unfortunately, we don't have much more time.
Okay.
So perhaps since you're also a teacher and you've been acting for a long time,
sure.
When you have your students, your pupils, and they kind of come to you and are like, well, I want to be an actor.
Right.
What's your first advice or the most important
Don't
advice?
do it. Become an international tax lawyer, earn some
Truly?
money. No.
I think a lot of actors say that.
Well, honestly, because it's really hard. I mean, this is lovely and very fun, and when I'm at work, it's amazing, but it's a very insecure industry. It's a very insecure job, which is why so many people fall out of it. Like, I think of my year at school, there was 30 of us. I think maybe 3 of us are still actors.
Oh.
My wife was an actor, and she went to an amazing theatre school, and I think out of her entire year group, she recently had her reunion, and they have all stopped.
Oh.
And it's the pressure of the reality of trying to make the career happen at the same time as trying to make a life happen, because they're pretty inconsistent. So the advice I would give is, if you love it, if you can't do anything else, which is how I always felt, like I can't not do it, then stick at it. But if you have a second passion, then you can always act on the set. You can do Amdram, you can make films with your friends. You can still be creative. Unless you absolutely can't imagine a world where you're not doing it, I would say find something which gives you joy, equal amounts of joy, but also pays the mortgage, because it's not an easy ask.
Oh, well.
Sorry. That's the less... that's not the right answer.
No, there's no right answer.
It's the honest answer.
It's an honest answer, and I'm thankful for that, definitely. Well, and from the practical standpoint, where would you start if you were starting today?
If I was starting today, it's hard. Where would I start today? I'd start by learning, like get yourself to class, spend time, watch movies, watch plays, read plays. The more that you can absorb of what you're interested in, the better. Like you want to learn anything, like the more you can engage with it as a thing you love and care about, the better. When you watch a film, watch a film. Did you like it? Did you not? Why? What was it in a performance that moved you? What was the thing that made you sit up? What was the moment where the hairs on your arm stood up? Why? What was the effect? Why did that happen to you? Why was that physiological response happening?
Right.
And starting to kind of discover what excites you creatively. Because I think once you know those things, you can start applying them to the work you do.
Well, Max, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you, really. And have a great rest of the day.
Yeah, I'm going to go watch some cosplay.
Oh, nice.
There's some amazing cosplay out there, so I'm going to go and look at those guys.
Nice. Well, thank you and bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.